So we've talked about now how to get the derivative of an equation. The derivative, remember, is an equation that'll tell us the slope at any point on a curve, okay? So f of x is the actual curve itself. F prime of x, or the derivative of f of x, tells us the slope or the gradient at any point of the curve, okay? When you plug in a value for f of x, so if you plug in 5, it's going to tell you how high it is. That's all it's going to tell you. If you plug 5 in now to f prime of x, it's going to tell you what the slope is instead. So instead of knowing how high it is, it's going to tell you how steep, level, or going down it is. So let's look at a couple problems. Here we have the function 3x squared minus 5x plus 2. And we want to know two things. We want to know how high, x and y value, okay? So how high is this line, the graph, when we are at 2? Also, how steep is it when we are at 2? We want to know both those things. Well, the first one, to find f of 2, we just take 2 and plug it into the equation, okay? So it'd be 3 times 2 squared minus 5 times 2 plus 2. 2 squared is 4, so 3 times 2 squared would be 12. So we've got 12 minus 10 plus 2, so that gives us 4. Okay, so if we're looking at a graph, when we are at 2, the graph is up here at 4, but we don't know how steep it is. We don't know if it's going up really steep or down really fast, if it's level, or if it is really steep, how steep is it? Okay, so now we have to find f prime of 2. So we need to take the derivative. Remember, I'll switch to a different color actually. Kind of separate everything out a little bit. So 3 times 2 is 6x minus 5. Do I get an x on the 5? I don't, okay, because that's a 0 once after you bring it down. Right now it's a 1. 1 times 5 is 5, but if you're left with 0, it's not there. 0 times 2 is 0, so we don't have to put it on. So f prime of x is 6x minus 5. So what would f prime of 2 be? Well, 6 times 2 is 12, minus 5 would be positive 7. So that would be very steep, right about there, okay? That would be a very steep line, right there. Let's try the next one, okay? We've got another graph here. How high is it at -1? Well, the only way to do that is to plug it in. Here we're going to have 4 times -1 to the 5th power is just -1, plus 3 times -1 squared is just 1, plus 2. So -4 plus 5 is going to be 1. Bloop. So if we're looking at a graph, when we are at -1, our graph is at 1, right there. Now let's look at how steep it is. Remember, how steep, that is going to be our derivative. So we take the derivative of this graph. 5 times 4 is 20x to the 4th. 2 times 3 is 6x. Then the 2, are we going to bring the 2 down? No, don't bring the 2 down, because remember, there's x to the 0. 0 times 2 is 0. 0 times x to the -1 is just 0. Okay, so this is our f prime of x. Okay? All right, well, I want to know what it is at -1. So that gives me 20 times, -1 to the 4th power is just 1. Plus 6 times -1 is -6. What's 20 minus 6? It is 14, positive 14. So it is extremely steep at this point. Extremely steep, okay? Ooh, kind of like that. All right, I want you to try this last one. Try that third one on your own real quick. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, you should have the answer by now. If you don't, pause it. Or if you think you're stuck, don't worry, I'm going to do 2 more examples after this. All right, so we want to know, oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't even tell you what exercise to find. probably already have the derivative. Let's do f of -2 and f prime of -2. Okay. If you need to take a second to do that, go for it. All right, let's do the first one. F at -2. F of -2. Take -2, plug it in. That's going to give me 5 times 4 minus 3 times -2, so that's positive 6 plus 2. 28 would be our answer. So when our graph is at -2, we're all the way up at positive 28. Okay. Now let's figure out our derivative. Okay, our derivative is going to be, because we want to know how steep it is it going up really fast, down really fast? Is it relatively level? I don't know. It's going to give us 2 times 5 is 10x minus 3. Well, let's see here. If we're going to plug in -2, that's -20 minus 3. That's -23. That's very steep going down. So, drop kind of like that. Okay, that's what our graph is going to look like at that point. All right, here are the last two. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to have you do that one. Here we go. We want to figure out what is the height and how steep is it when x equals 1. So here we go. We're going to take 1 and plug it in all the way up here. And it's going to give me 3 times 1 minus 2 times 1 plus 1 minus 1. Those cancel. That leaves me with 1. So we're at a height of 1 right now. Let's see here. Then we're going to do the next step. The next step would be, let's see, we're at 1 was it? That's our little plans. Now we need to figure out the slope. To do so, we need to first find out the derivative. So the derivative here is going to be 9x squared minus, what would that be, 4x plus 1. Take 1, plug it in. That's going to give me 9 minus 4 plus 1, which gives us 6. That is our derivative. That is the slope at 1. Okay, so 6, that's pretty steep. Not as steep as some of the ones we had in the last problems. That's pretty steep. All right, pause the video. Try this last one on your own. On your mark, get set, go. All right, you should have the answer by now. If you don't, pause it, try it on your own. Here we go. First, we need to figure out what is f at -2. So we go through, we plug -2 in. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. Plus -2 cubed would be -8. Times 4 is -32. Minus, see, -3 times 2 squared is 4, so that'd be 12. -2, we're going to plug it in here, that's -4. I don't need to plug -2 in there. Okay, so we go through, we're going to do a little bit more math here. We've got, let's see here, that's 44, 48. So we got -48. We've got positive 21, because 1 and 20. Okay, all I did was I just combined my negatives, combined the positives. I'm just going to subtract. 21 minus 48 is going to give me -27. That's a big number. Okay, let's keep going. We're not done yet. Now we need to find our derivative. Our derivative is, let's see, 4 times 5 is 20x cubed plus 12x squared minus 6x plus 2. We're going to take the -2 and plug it in. Let's see, -2 cubed, that's -8. -8 times 20, that is -160. Plus 2 squared is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. Negative 2 times negative 6 is positive 12 plus 2. Combine those, it's 50, 62. Negative 160 plus 62 is negative 98. All right, so we are given a graph. It's pretty intense. It's dropping really quick. See here, we are at negative 2. We come down 27. A lot. Okay, so we're all the way down here, and it is extremely steep going down, almost straight up and down. So what's happening is you come over 1, you go down 100. Well, when you come over 1, you go down 98, roughly at this point. So that's as close to straight up and down, I think, as we're going to probably get. Okay, kind of like that. Perfect, perfect.